I've got a confession to make. I work for a knife sharpening company, but I don't sharpen my kitchen knives. So here's the deal. I don't sharpen these knives very often, but I do hone them regularly, and I tend to skate by on that. I work full-time, my wife works full-time, we've got 2 kids. We just don't take a lot of time to prep our knives before we make a meal. Probably like a lot of you out there, these knives bang around in a drawer, they end up in the dishwasher. I don't take care of them like I probably should. You gotta forgive me on that one. But the honing tends to get the job done. So what I wanted to do today is take these knives that are dull. You can see they're pretty beat up, and then I wanna hone them and see how much difference that makes. I probably let these go a little longer than I should without honing, but we wanted to make this video a fun one for you guys, see how much honing makes a difference, and then we'll sharpen them and see how much of a difference that makes too. So here's how we're gonna do this. I've got my 2 knives here. One's a Western style Wusthof, the other's an Eastern style Japanese knife. What I'm gonna do is do a sharpness test on all of them. We've got our best tester here, which scores the knives on how sharp they are by cutting a piece of filament. Basically, low score, the better. We've got some cutting mediums here. We'll cut some tomatoes, see how they cut right now, see how they cut after honing, and then see how they cut after sharpening. Starting with the Wusthof knife, we're gonna score it on the best tester. Like I said, low score is a good score, and then we're gonna cut the tomato and see how it does. All right, now cutting with the Wusthof. It didn't score as terribly as I thought. It wasn't good by any means, but we'll see how it cuts on the tomato. I usually use this knife for more of a chopper than a slicer, but yeah, it's having to work to get through the skin. Not a terrible cut, definitely needs some maintenance. All right, now the Japanese style knife. These are typically sharpened at a steeper angle. This thing was dull on the best tester, but we'll see how it does on the tomato. Actually slices pretty good. What I think's going on there is you can see the damage on the blade kind of created this like almost serrated edge to the knife, which helped it bite through that tomato, but this thing is dull and needs maintenance as well. To hone these knives, I'm gonna use our WorkSharp kitchen ceramic honing rod. I'm gonna make about 10 passes per side. The nice thing about the ceramic honing rod is it has these built-in angle guides to help me know where to hold my knife as I make passes. One thing to keep in mind as I'm doing this is that we're not necessarily removing material, we're just aligning that edge back into shape. It's not gonna fix any of that damage on the Japanese knife, but it should help align the edge towards serviceable and usable. Both knives scored really well after the honing, almost twice as sharp, which was pretty impressive. When we looked at them under the microscope, they weren't exactly looking a lot better in terms of visual, but that's to be expected. All we're doing when we're honing is getting right to the edge. We're not gonna see a lot of improvement when it comes to those dings and chips in the edge. I expect them to cut pretty well. Let's see how they do on the tomato. Wow, big improvement. Glided right through there compared to the first time I tried to cut with it. Probably why I just stick to honing all the time. All right, now for the Japanese knife. We'll see how it does on the tomato. Still did pretty good. I did have to give it a little bit of pressure to get through, but I mean, that would work as serviceable in the kitchen. I know it's gonna do a lot better after sharpening. Now let's take both knives, sharpen them, and see if it really makes that much of a difference. This is a professional kitchen sharpener. We're gonna use it to sharpen both these knives. We're gonna run each knife through 2 cycles. We're gonna use a coarse belt and then a fine belt to refine the edge. The nice thing about the professional kitchen sharpener is it has angle guides, so all I have to do is rest the knife in the guides and alternate strokes as the machine does all the work. So each knife took about 3.5 to 4 minutes. Not that bad. And as you can see, the improvements are major. The Wusthof looks like a brand new knife, and the Japanese knife, major improvement. There's still a little damage there. If I didn't have 2 kids running around the house, I'd probably run it through again and it would be in like new shape as well. Now looking at the best tester, as expected, both these knives are looking significantly better and they scored about twice as sharp. Now let's see how they do cutting. I expect both these knives to perform significantly better. Let's see how they do. All right, Wusthof here. Yep, a lot better. Went right through the skin, no resistance. About what I expected. Now for the Japanese knife. Yeah, a lot better. I know I can do some really controlled cuts with this now, and it's gonna be a lot safer knife to use. So what did we learn here? I think the biggest key takeaway here is that while honing is effective, it's just a band-aid for your knives. Eventually, they're all gonna need to be sharpened. And sharpening really doesn't take that long. It took about 3.5, 4 minutes per knife to get them to like a factory edge again. So if I leave you with anything, it's this: hone your knives daily, sharpen monthly, and your knives will thank you for it.